Hi there, it's Shauna. I'm passionate about pages and I'm really happy with the way my Pretty Frocks layout ended up. So those of you who have been following along my May tip of the day videos will have seen a Facebook Live in the middle of May 2021 where I started this this layout, and now it's done. So I just wanted to show you a couple of the things that I have used on it to finish it off. So first up, the actual layout is from Make It From Your Heart Volume 5, and it's pattern number 17. Let's just find it here. Okay, so this is the design, and I used the exact photo placements and sizes as they used on this layout here. Okay, but by doing it in just grey, white and the Carolina blue, I've got a much softer look to it than in the book. Now, when I just had a piece of paper here, it looked a bit flat because this paper isn't very patterned or very vibrant. So I stamped a little repeated vine, or maybe seed pods, stamp along that edge, and that actually comes off this set, the You Are Enough stamp and thin cut set, which is part of our current You Are Enough promotion, and it's that little one there. Why don't I take the thin cuts out? That's easier to see. That little one there. And by using sage ink, which ties in with the sponging that I did on my leaves here, that works really nicely. And then while I've got the stamp set, I also used I Am from this stamp set to start these two paragraphs, because I wanted it to be obvious to readers of the page that that was one little story and that was another little story. Okay, and then the last thing I used off this stamp set was just these three little lines, and they were what I put around my cluster here. I didn't have them on it at first, and the title looked pretty, but it kind of looked as though it had just been plonked on the page. And then those four little stamps just completely changed the look of it. So I reckon this, like, I love all the stamps on here, but I'm thinking this one might be the one that gets used more than anything else by me on this stamp set, which would be quite funny. All right, now as a reminder, the flowers are cut using the 3D flower thin cut. Okay, so I've used the first three sizes, and there is one more that goes even bigger, and you can create stamen with the thin cut that comes with it if you want to make it three-dimensional, and they stand up. But because I was doing it on my page here, the way that I made the center feature was that I used this thin cut from the leaves set, and I used the outline shape and trimmed off this skinny bit of the leaf. That's all explained in the live that I did, but I wanted to show you what I did for the center of the flowers. Okay, all I did once I'd layered up my stamen is I took some liquid glass and I put a lot of liquid glass in the middle there. Then I took some bitty beads, some seed beads, and just shook them on there and let it dry, and that makes a really pretty flower center. And I deliberately chose a much darker blue so that that would stand out a little bit on the layout. All right. What else did I? Oh, so the I forgot to bring these down with me. The letters are cut with the simple serif alphabet thin cuts, and you can get all capitals or all lowercase, but I like to use a combination of both on there. And I think that's all that's changed since I made it. So just that's the ink I used, the sage ink, to sponge the leaves, and then I highlighted them with lagoon ink. I used holographic paper, which is on special today as we speak. I used vellum paper that I had in my stash, and I used white glitter paper as well, along with a little bit of the silver foil papers as well. And then when I was layering the centres, you know, the leaf cuts on the glitter, I used glue dots to hold them all together. So what do you think? I've enjoyed making this because I love the story that goes with it too. So those of you who know me know that I'm a bit of a fan of a nice frock. And if you're watching this from outside of Australia, the word frock is like a term we use for dress. I don't know when it started in Australia, but certainly as I was growing up, we talked about frocks. You were putting on a frock to go out. It wasn't a dress. So that's why I've used that as the title, because I was born in 1961. So these are all early 60s photos here. So my story is, I am a pretty frock kind of girl. It obviously started early with Mum dressing me in frocks with frills and lace. My wardrobe is filled with dresses now, 2021. Not so many frills these days, but I love spots and fun fruity prints. I am also still a big fan of black patent leather shoes for winter and sandals with some shine or bling on them for summer. And then I've just captioned some of the photos. Okay, now this is a very dark photo. It was scanned off a slide, and if I lighten it too much, I lose the image. But can you see? This is me as a 5-year-old. This is a really, really big boy kangaroo. Now, the first thing that shocks me about this is that my parents let me get that close to pet the kangaroo because they can be quite lethal. But the other thing is they took me to a wildlife park and I was wearing patent leather shoes, pretty socks, a frock and a white cardigan. But do you know what? Because it was me, I would have gone home in exactly that same condition. Birthday parties always had a pretty frock. This is me. I must have been about 3 months old in a really pretty frock. This was obviously a birthday party in New Guinea, and everyone's in lace and frills. Can't get enough of it. And then check this out. Okay, so here's 3-year-old me and my 5-year-old brother. And then when you look in the background, we are about to walk into the door of an aeroplane. And when I thought about what flight that would have been the flight when we flew home from New Guinea to Melbourne to visit family. It was a series of flights we took. So we went from our highland town of Wau to a bigger city of Lae in a tiny little plane. Then we got on a slightly bigger plane and we flew from Lae to Port Moresby, which was the big city. Then we flew from Port Moresby to Brisbane, and then we flew either directly from Brisbane to Melbourne or via Sydney, mostly via Sydney. When we got to Brisbane, Mum always changed us into the pretty outfit she wanted the family to see as we appeared in Melbourne Airport. So we would have been put in these outfits for a flight that could have lasted up to 6 hours. Can you imagine doing that nowadays? No way. And then the last one, which I thought was really hilarious, is, yes, of course, I would choose a really pretty dress to go dinking in the back of my brother's bike. So I hope you've enjoyed the layout as much as thinking about some of the stories that you might have that you could incorporate into something similar. This is a great layout because there's lots of photos on it and there's lots of room. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hope you're having a great day.